Someone hands you the keys to a private island tomorrow. No mortgage, no catch. A real island, a few hundred acres of it, somewhere warm. White sand, water so clear it looks fake. No neighbors, no traffic, no rules but your own. It is one of the most common daydreams on Earth. And now it's real. It's yours. So let's do the one thing the glossy listings and the celebrity magazines never do. Let's open a ledger. Money in on one side, money out on the other. Every dollar, honestly counted. And by the time we close it, you'll understand something strange. The people who can most easily afford a private island are very often the ones who quietly sell it within 5 years. Let's start with the only number most people ever think about: the purchase. Private islands are cheaper than you'd guess, and far more expensive than you can imagine. At the same time, you can buy a rocky lake island in Canada for the price of a used car. You can also spend $200 million. But the ones people actually dream about, warm, private, a few hundred acres with a real beach, tend to start in the low millions. So let's buy one. A modest, real island. Listing price, $4 million. Put it on the ledger. Cost column, $4 million. And here's the first thing nobody tells you. That $4 million is the cheapest part of this entire video. Because the island you just bought almost certainly comes with nothing. No power line, no fresh water, no sewage, no dock you'd trust your life to. In a lot of cases, no building at all. Everything a normal town hands you for free. The second you flip a switch or turn a tap, you now have to build yourself, and then run yourself, forever. There's a rule of thumb in this world. They call it the 1.8x rule. It says the price on the listing is only about 55% of what you'll actually spend to make an island livable. In plain terms, a $2 million island costs around $3.5 million before you can comfortably sleep on it. So our $4 million island, by the time it's genuinely livable, we're looking at roughly $7 million. Let's watch where that money goes, because every single piece of it is its own small nightmare. Start with water. An island in the ocean is surrounded by the one thing you cannot drink. So you build a desalination plant. Reverse osmosis, forcing seawater through membranes at enormous pressure. A small unit that makes enough water for a home runs $200,000 to $300,000. Installed. A resort-sized one is over $800,000. Put it on the ledger. Around $300,000. Just so you can have a glass of water. Now power. There's no grid out here. So either you're burning diesel in generators around the clock, or you're building a field of solar panels backed by a wall of batteries big enough to carry you through the night. A serious off-grid system for a private home. Panels, inverters, a battery bank so the lights don't die at 3 in the morning. Comfortably runs into 7 figures. Put it on the ledger. Call it $800,000. And notice something. Your water depends on that power. Power fails, the desalination stops, and now you have no drinking water on a rock in the middle of the sea. So you need backup, redundancy, a second system to protect the first. Out here, everything has to be built twice. Then come the things you'd never even think of. Sewage, a proper wastewater system, because you can't just let it run into the reef you paid a fortune to look at. Another few $100,000. A dock strong enough to survive the sea. A boat, because the island is useless without one. Fuel storage. Paths. Somewhere for staff to sleep. And every one of these costs more here than it would anywhere on Earth, because there's no hardware store on your island. Every bag of cement, every pipe, every worker, every tool arrives by barge, across open water. Island construction runs 1.5 to 3 times mainland prices, and the weather delays all of it, constantly. So let's close out the build. Our $4 million dream, made livable, now reads, on the ledger, around $7 million. And we still haven't spent a single night there. Here's where most people relax. The hard part's done, right? You bought it, you built it, now you just enjoy it. No. Now the real cost begins. Because a private island isn't a thing you own, it's a thing you feed. and it's hungry every single day of the year, whether you're standing on it or not. Let's open the second half of the ledger, the annual, bleed. Staff first. You cannot run an island alone. At the bare minimum, you need a caretaker, usually a couple who live there full-time, keeping the generators running, the pumps working, and the jungle from swallowing the house. A live-in caretaker costs somewhere between $25,000 and $60,000 a year. Let's say 50. Put it on the ledger. $50,000 a year. Maintenance. And this is the one that quietly kills people. The sea is trying to destroy everything you own, all the time. Salt eats metal. Humidity rots wood. Every storm tears at anything left exposed. Nothing out here ages slowly. Upkeep on a developed island runs $30,000 to $100,000 a year. Forever. Call it 60. Insurance. Most of these beautiful, warm islands sit directly inside a hurricane belt. Insurers know exactly what that means. Coverage, if you can even get it, costs tens of thousands a year, and a single major storm can wipe out a decade of premiums in one afternoon, and take your dock, your roof, and your boat with it. Call it $40,000 a year. Then the smaller lines, the ones that add up faster than you expect. Property taxes, a few thousand to 50,000, depending where you are. Getting there, boats, fuel, sometimes a chartered flight, plus dragging every scrap of food and supplies across the water, easily $20,000 to $30,000 a year. And those machines you built earlier? The desalination membranes wear out. The batteries die every 7 to 12 years. The generators need overhauls. Set aside another $20,000 to $30,000 a year just to replace what's quietly breaking behind the walls. Add it all up, honestly, and a modest private island, one you visit maybe 4 weeks a year, costs you somewhere around $200,000 to $250,000 every single year, whether you set foot on it or not. Now, let's do one piece of arithmetic the brochures will never show you. Say the bleed lands at $235,000 a year, 4 weeks of visits. That's 28 nights, which means every single night you actually sleep on your private paradise costs you around $8,000 in running costs alone. And that's before we mention the $7 million now frozen inside the island itself. Money that, parked almost anywhere else, could quietly earn you $300,000 or $400,000 a year doing absolutely nothing. Count that lost income too, and your true cost per night climbs closer to $20,000. $20,000 a night for a place you already own. At this point, the obvious thought kicks in. Fine, I'll rent it out. Let the island pay for itself. So let's flip to the income side of the ledger. And here's the trap. A private island that earns money is no longer a private island. It's a resort. To rent it to the kind of people who pay to stay on private islands, you need luxury villas, a full kitchen, a trained staff of dozens, marketing, a booking operation, licenses, guest insurance. Your staffing bill alone leaps from one caretaker to $600,000 or $700,000 a year, and it can run past $1.5 million. Your monthly burn stops being a trickle and becomes a flood. Yes, the top private island resorts on the planet charge staggering nightly rates, and the best of them do very well. But they got there by turning paradise into a hospitality business, one of the hardest businesses there is, and by swallowing years of losses first. Detailed models of these ventures routinely show tens of millions in negative cash flow before they ever break even, if they break even at all. So write this in the income column and underline it. The moment your island starts making money, you no longer own the dream. You own a remote hotel with a payroll and a hurricane problem. You sold the fantasy to buy yourself a job, which leaves the ledger with two honest paths, and only two. Path 1. Keep it private. Keep it yours, and accept that it is a permanent, quietly growing liability. A couple $100,000 a year, climbing with inflation, forever, for a place you see a few weeks a year. Path 2. Turn it into a business. Give up the solitude, the silence, The whole reason you wanted it in the first place. And maybe, after years and millions in losses, break even. There is no third path. There is no version where the island simply sits there, silent and free, making you richer while you sleep. That island does not exist. And if you decide you've finally had enough, getting out is its own trap. The number of people on Earth who want to buy your exact island at your price in that exact moment is tiny. Islands sit on the market for years. They very often sell for less than the owner poured in. The thing that felt like the ultimate asset turns out to be one of the least liquid things a human being can own. Easy to buy, brutal to leave. So let's close the ledger. Purchase, $4 million. Livable, $7 million. Then $200,000 and more, a year, every year, with a hurricane hanging over all of it, and almost no way to earn a cent of it back without surrendering the exact thing you wanted. Now go back to the beginning. Someone hands you the keys to a private island tomorrow. It sounds like the summit, the final, unarguable proof that you made it. But run the numbers, honestly, all the way down to the last line, and the daydream shows you what it was hiding. The island was never the luxury. The real luxury, the one almost nobody can actually afford, is being able to close this ledger, hand back the keys, and walk away without it costing you a thing. Next time, we'll open the ledger on something that looks even more like a money printing machine and bleeds even faster.